Hello, followers, friends, and family. Another installment of Haywood Plains. So the other day, the grandkids are over. The littlest one says to me, "Have you built that yet?" "Oh, no, I haven't." "Is it going to be green still?" "Yes. It still wants to be green." All right, so, well, if they're going to start asking, I guess I better start working. And this build is going to be very similar to the 55 hardtop Chevy. I'm going to hinge the trunk. Uh-oh, don't tell me. We're going to hinge the trunk. There she goes. There she goes. We're going to hinge the trunk and put the battery and the switch in here that turns the headlights and taillights on. So we've ordered the headlights and the taillights and the switch and the battery holder and a battery. Which is what you do when you're going to, do that. You need all the things and the stuff. So suddenly this was a little bindy just now, and it hadn't been before, so now I'm wondering why. Here you can see my elemental trunk lid hinge. I think you can see it. So it's just a length of piano wire, bent in such a manner as to allow for swinging. So you want swinging. You don't want a whole lot of side shifty motion, so you want to make sure that your retainer is as long as the bar. So the piano, pardon me, yeah, oh, where am I going? The piano wire is bent in such a way, and then the retainer is cut to fit. Although I cut it a little short, had to add a piece to fix that, which is fine. Sometimes you cut things and you cut them in the wrong spot, and then you got to fix them, and so you fix them with something, and you're done, and you're good to go. And then on the other side, we just put a couple of retainer clips, which is just evergreen plastic tubing sliced in half to make half rounds, and then those are used as a way of capturing the wire and attaching it down to the deck lid, to the trunk lid. You'll have to forgive me. I'm a little anyway. I'm thinking different things than I'm saying, or something. Anyway, so we have the trunk lid hinged. Now we're just waiting for the lighting to come, but we're not just going to sit here and wait for it. We're going to do stuff. So the Chevy had carpet, and for the carpeting I used, let me think, wasn't black. No, it was this color right here. We used the embossing powder that is called cranberry. No, we didn't use cranberry. We used the one that is called walnut. We used walnut. So the car is going to be green, and for that I'm going to use a dark hunter green. And then the accents, instead of chrome, I'm thinking we'll use black instead of chrome on all of those little detail parts. Now, I may and I may not do that. That's one of those things I'm just mulling over at the moment. But it's possible that she's going to be green with black trim, and then a brown and tan interior. The carpeting would be this walnut brown, and then the seats and the door cards and a few other accents in the cockpit would be tan, leather brown. And what I'm thinking about here is kind of like an American Jaguar. We'll just paint it as if it were a Jaguar, only it's not. It's a Thunderbird. 57 Thunderbird in a 1/16 scale, just like the 55 Chevy. And so we'll get the lights in to the body, I'll make the light cans out of the aluminum tubing, right? We'll just shoot a couple of, I don't know, 1-inch long sections of the aluminum tubing into each of the fenders in line with where the lights are. Cap those with probably balsa and drill a hole through the balsa cap to run the wire. Glue it to the back of each of the lights. Tail lights would get theirs glued on, and then the headlights would go into the buckets and then be set up accordingly. Right, so we're going to have lighting in the 57 Ford Thunderbird convertible, hard top, pop top. This has the top included. Let's just take another look at this. So we've got the body situated. Let me move some things around. So I think I'll just move these off over here. That way I don't have to mess with them, sticking them together, all that stuff. 57 Chevy. Pop top convertible. Alright, so we've already opened a couple of these bags to check out the parts and see what's happening in here. So here's the top. It's got the porthole side windows. Here's the hood. It's got the scoop already built in. So I won't be adding a scoop because she's already got one. And then here's the two different style wheels. And then the tires. We've got skinny stock tires, and we've got these extra wide, more of a custom build type of tires. These would go with the deep dish mags. These would go with the stock steel wheels and poverty caps. Anyway, this is what you get in the box. We've got a nice air cleaner situation here. We've got chrome valve covers if we want to use them. We've got two nice bumpers. Got a pretty decent grill. Oh, it's not open. You would think in this scale, given the opportunity, round two models, they would have opened up the grills on these. The 55 grill was closed, was just like this. I don't understand that, but working in this big scale, you would think, they would take it, some of the opportunities to add, kind of critical detail and just do it. What can I do? Well, she's pretty thick. If I start grinding at the back, the actual bars on this are so thin, I don't think there'd be a way to grind these open from the back without actually tearing it apart. So that's out. I could slice the whole thing out and just keep this outer portion of the grill and then use something like a window screen, painted silver, painted chrome. That's almost the same gauge as your typical window screen material. So there's that option. It would look, well, it would probably look better than this. Or I could just go with this, dress it up the best I can with panel wash and patience and or acrylic black paint, and then wiping it off of the chrome bars, hook or crook, tomato, one way or the other. We're gonna make this, we'll try and make this grill look right. I don't think, since it's for the kids, and it'll probably end up just getting thrashed, there's not a whole lot of point in going the extra mile. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to build it up, into a good out-of-box representation, best I can do. The 55 Chevy turned out, pretty good, actually. And if I do pay attention to the bodywork and do all the filling and sanding and polishing, and we spray on a good, shiny finish, and then we buff that and polish it up, you get a pretty decent representation, even though it may lack some of the finer detail. It's still a really fine out-of-box representation. The kids are going to love it either way. I mean, the boys, they love these cars. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna. This is what's next. I'm gonna build this up. So when it comes to, you know, cutting out the trunk lid, you know, well, why didn't you do it on camera? Well, to be honest with you, I was sitting here thinking about what to do, and then I kind of found this in my hand, and I said, well, I took it out of the box and I started looking at it and thinking, well, might as well do it the same way as the Chevy. And if I'm going to do it the same way as the Chevy, I might as well open up the trunk and see if I can't get it hinged, because none of that time will be wasted. It's got to happen. It's got to be done. And well, I could do that, you know, now while I'm sitting here. So that's what I did. So, you know, essentially all you're doing, you know, is tracing along the trunk lid lines with this tool, dragging out, you know, plastic bits after plastic bit, getting that line ever deeper into the car, shining the light through it so you can see that you're making progress, noticing that there's a bit of a coming through of the blade as you're doing it on the bottom side, and you just keep after it. Pretty soon it's popping out in sections. The next thing you know, out she comes. It's not rocket science. You just get her done. You take it out, you sand the edges in here nice and smooth, angling the sandpaper under the opening. You don't want to be sanding in onto this edge. These two edges are the mating surfaces, where the two parts come together and you get that reveal, that gap or whatever. And you don't want to create a larger gap than there should be. So you're not sanding at this angle along this edge. You're sanding from underneath along this edge and along these edges, from underneath and out. And then you're flush sanding a little bit just flat against the gap. So you're sanding a little bit flat against this. Then what you want to do is you're going to want to line the circumference of this opening with some half round or some strip stock of plastic, evergreen plastic. But you want to pay attention to make sure you're creating an edge into the opening, and that keeps your trunk lid from falling through and not resting flat against the opening here. This is what you want. Okay, so that's done. The next step in this process, if I continue with this, would be to insert this bottom of the car, the frame and chassis here, floor pans all installed, and gas tank molded in for some reason, and all that. So to set up this frame and rails underneath the car where it's going to sit. So there's these two locating tabs here and here, so you just want to rest it on those. That's where it's going to be situated. Pop the sides open just slightly and she fits right in there. So then what you want to do is see what that trunk looks like in the inside there, and just you're going to want to line around it with cardstock or, you know, 020 evergreen sheet plastic or whatever you're going to do. Put in a floor, and then put a wrap around. Put in the side, back, and sides and back piece in, kind of a horseshoe configuration of cardstock, if you will, just to define the trunk and separate it from the cockpit and all that. So then once all that's done, and you can figure out whether you want to leave this well here or just sheet over it. This is worthless, the spare tire divot right there. Nothing's going to fit in there. No spare tire is going to fit there. You might as well just paper over that. But then, you know, as I said, you can, you know, choose whether or not to leave the larger box opening, the gas tank indentation open like that. Maybe throw, you know, a mock suitcase or a bag of toolbox or a bag of laundry or something. I don't know, you know, just whatever you want to do if you want to detail it up. For my purposes, I'm just going to sheet over everything. This is where the switch, battery, and yeah, and then those components of the lighting kit are going to go, just as they did in the 55 Chevy, right? That's why I did it. But if you're going to open that up to detail something, you know, or add some other car parts and old carburetors and charging whirlers, lightning hoses, you know, that kind of stuff, then, you know, you can do whatever you like. But you want to get this open, and then you want to hinge it. And, well, this is how I did it. You know, these returns on here only go to about this length. In other words, this is not a continuous bar all the way around. It's cut off here and here, and then the retaining tubing is just cut such that it's long enough, you know, that neither end can escape. And as I said, if you want to prevent the lid from sliding around, and you want to make it the same, your retaining bar the same width as from this point to this point, your hinges. Okay, and then you fix this side, and you can either mount it this way or the other way. I mean, if I wanted to, I could flip this whole thing around, right, and you know, fix this side here and have it just rotate underneath the trunk deck. Right? It doesn't have to rotate this way. I mean, I think it's better if it does. But you know what I'm saying. The bends could have been done either way. The fixing of this part could be done either way. I don't think it matters. All that matters is that you make enough room with these horseshoe bends, with these up and back hinge bends. That's all that really matters, is that you've got enough room for that to rotate, right? And clear this area long enough to get a proper extension of the trunk lid, which is about there, right? I mean, if you bend it wrong and you put too much of a gap there, it's going to rotate a little higher. Okay, and if you put less of an opening, a gap there, it's not going to open high enough, maybe, or just high enough for you to do whatever you need to do. In my case, it would only need to open about this far, but I wanted a little bit of scale